Hey family, it's so good to see you. I am excited to continue our conversation about being a father, about the father in the prodigal son story. And we got Kurt here. He did a great job on Sunday being vulnerable, sharing his story, but what being a father looks like. And we kind of want to dive a little bit deeper into that. So this is Kurt McAllister.
Yep.
What's up, brother?
Hi, how you doing?
What is being a father mean to you? How many kids do you have? What has that experience been like for you?
Sure. So I've got 3 sons. I mean, they're all men now. So
Yes.
I've got a 23-year-old son, a 20, and an 18-year-old son. It's really meant the world to me. My wife and I were laughing the other day that when we were first married, we talked about maybe never even having kids.
Yeah.
Because we'd been around enough little kids where, it's sometimes that's a great deterrent.
Yes.
Is hanging around other small children. But
Yes.
we were meant to have children,
Yeah.
and I can't imagine the world without my 3 guys in it. to be
Yeah, for
honest with
sure.
you.
For sure. I mean, I think I'm right in the thick of it, right? Like,
You
I'm in
are.
that, with 3 kids, 4 and under, you're right at that experience where you're like, oh, I'm not sure if this was the best plan. Lord help me.
Right.
At the same time, it's incredibly rewarding what you have totally experienced.
Yep.
What for you changed how you feel about God or how you relate to God having sons, having those experiences?
I guess the relationship is that, we all have a Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
And I can find solace, I can find counsel in Him and His Word.
Yeah.
And again, the way I look at my sons is the way He looks at all of us.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm constantly reminded that even if there's even as missteps as adults,
Yeah.
He's still quick to forgive,
100%.
and He's ever loving. So, yeah, I mean, He is our great example.
Yeah.
He's the role model which you all aspire to as dads.
That's so good. So in the prodigal son story, there's this moment where the father is on the porch or wherever he is, and he sees the prodigal son running or pursuing or coming after.
Right.
And he runs towards his son. For you, have you experienced pursuing your sons, and what has that looked like?
The only time I would ever say I've run to them is in more of a supportive nature.
Yeah.
That either a skinned knee or a bad ball game, just there to provide, not only emotional support, but just let them know that it's just a moment in time.
Yeah.
And they'll get past it. So I haven't had that big moment like we saw in the prodigal son story.
Yeah.
But a whole lot of little moments.
Yeah, totally. That's good. And I think that there's something powerful that we get to learn as fathers, and that's that we are anticipating or looking for opportunities to meet needs in our kids' lives. Mm-hmm. Because I think one of the things you learn as a father is that they are not born incredibly articulate and wonderful at communicating their needs, right?
Yeah, especially sons.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
Especially sons.
That's true. And sometimes you have to learn how do I anticipate, or how do I go beyond just waiting for my son or daughter to come to me and say, hey, Dad, this is exactly what I need, and this is how I need you to do it. Mm-hmm. So what has that journey looked like for you? How do you intentionally, with hope or with trying to be aware of your kids and what's going on in their lives and meet those needs as they come up?
Sure. I mean, especially with boys, you got to read their body language a lot, because with young boys, you get a lot of grunts.
Yeah, for sure.
But, what we've always had to do is we always have, that dinner time. When we are going someplace, they're kind of a captive audience in a car, so we make sure to talk to them, to interview them. And what we've done is it's kind of a tradition in my family. Once a week, I still do with my parents, we call and we'll have like an hour-long conversation. So my older son, who's now moved away and on his own, every Monday evening, we've got that hour with him. When Shane, our middle son, is in college, once a week we talk to him. And we know that there's an expectation that there is going to be that constant communication, because it's not so much in catching up on what they're doing, but to see if they have any needs, anything we can pray for them. So
that's so good.
Communication is key.
That's huge. So what does fathering other people, not just your kids, what does that look like for you? Have you gotten the opportunity to do that?
Yeah.
And how did you kind of walk into those situations?
I've had a chance to do it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And, the previous church we were at, Tamara and I we were kind of the youth leaders.
Okay.
So we didn't have a huge cadre of kids, but it did give us a chance to encourage, empower, and love on them. I was a Little League coach for the better part of 10 years.
Wow.
So probably during that span, I probably coached, well over 150 kids.
Yeah.
And so you love on them in different ways.
Totally.
And sometimes I found that I was maybe the only male encouragement they got during the course of a week, depending on their situation, whether they were a divorced child or maybe they had an absentee father.
Yeah.
So I always remember that maybe those kind words and maybe, that arm around the shoulder is something that they've been craving.
Yeah.
And even now, I because I'm a public relations professional, I'm a pretty ardent speaker on the college circuit.
Yeah.
So I look at these college students as a chance for outreach as well, not only passing along what I know in terms of my knowledge, but I also talk about real life situations,
Yeah.
about peer pressure, about ethics and morality. So I've always had a heart for kids, be them 2 or 22.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. So where for you, or how do you draw the line as a father between pursuing and hope and all these different things, and then maybe like enabling or manipulation or control, or maybe shepherding too much? Or how do you know when too far is too far, right? Like, I've done my job as a parent and now it's their job to meet me halfway or to grow up and be who they're supposed to be.
Yeah, you've got to give your kids or other people's kids, you got to give them enough leash
Yeah.
where they can learn on their own. And I mean, this whole helicopter parent phenomena, you've got to let your kids fail.
Yeah.
Too many parents out there are just, they're afraid that heartbreak is going to lead to therapy, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
really, but heartbreak and failure is the way we learn and become better, and actually we become more reliant on God.
That's so good.
So yeah, it's the manipulation. I've seen parents who will manipulate their kids to try to, there's a means to an end.
Yeah.
But a lot of times that blows up in their face.
Yeah.
So yeah, you really, again, you've got to be able to love on your children, not only embrace them, but you also have to learn how to love from afar.
Yeah.
Especially as they get older, because they need to find themselves, and they need to find themselves in the Lord. And if you're right there at their side every moment, they can't find
That's
that
so
individuality.
good. That's so good. So Isaiah talked a little bit about hope and how that father, especially in that prodigal son story, had to maintain hope in everything that he was doing. And I think that there's such a powerful piece there that you're talking about. As fathers, we have to allow those that we're fathering to make mistakes, to fail,
Right.
to do what's going on in their life. But we also have to maintain hope and belief that they're going to return not only to us, but more importantly to him
Right.
in everything that they're doing. So thank you so much for
welcome.
sharing your heart of being a father. And it's obvious the father that you are, both with your kids, but also just everybody that you come in contact with at the river. And we are so blessed to have you and your wife here. So you have an opportunity this week, and that is going to be to, like Curtis talking about, like the prodigal son story, like Isaiah talked about, to father. And those people can be your kids, they can be people at the playground like Isaiah and I were talking about, or people that you just run into throughout your life. And you have an opportunity to, with hope, allow them to pursue God on their own, but be ready and available to meet those needs as they come up.